Welcome to Option Trades Today. I'm Tony the Baptiste, and I have a trade idea for you today. December 12th, 2023, and the end of the year is near. But let's see what's going on in the market today. E-mini S&P is up $2.25. You can see they're pretty much mid-range for the day. We've had about a 30 handle, $30 move in the E-mini S&Ps, down to 46.62. Up to 46.96, and we're sitting right here at 46.80, basically mid-range for the day. Something that's not mid-range for the day is volatility. Volatility down almost 50 cents, down 46 cents to 12.45, and if volatility continues to be very, very weak, I'm assuming that this market is going to hold on to its gains for the end of the year. Watch volatility. If it starts to uptick, well, then maybe you start getting prepared for a little bit more weakness in the market after this nice move up we've had. Dow making new highs, NASDAQ making new highs, E-mini S&Ps making new highs. And look at the NASDAQ volatility here. It's under 1. E-mini S&Ps are trading around 2 IV rank. I want you to keep in mind that IV rank in NASDAQ under 1 right now, because we're going to look at a stock, BIDU, which is Baidu, which is down $1.50 today, with an IV rank of 14. 14 high, well, I put my cursor right here where around 14.15 is, and if you look at that line that goes across here, it's about mid-range for most of the time. Baidu's volatility is down in this range. It does get the spikes for earnings, of course, or anywhere else. I would love to be able to sell it when volatility is a lot higher, maybe even do a little bit more of a directional trade when volatility is higher. But you know what? It is what it is. So let's take a look at Baidu for a quick second. I'm going to go to the trade page by clicking on the left-hand side. You know what month I'm going to go into. We like to stay in the monthly options closest to 45 days, even though there's these weekly options with 45 days, and they do have dollar-wide strikes, which makes it a little bit more attractive for us. Markets can tend to be a little bit wider. They're not bad in Baidu on the weekly options with 45 days. So if that's something that you wanted to do, you certainly could. I'm going to stick in January options, even though there's $5 wide strikes and the width of the bid ask is approximately the same as what you saw in the weeklies. This would be an example where if you wanted to go into the weekly options, you certainly could. Let's take a look at the open interest for a quick second. You'll see here that the open interest is in the thousands on everywhere in Baidu in the January options with 38 days. Now let's look at the open interest in the 45 days. Now, of course, it's going to be less because the options haven't been as long. But look at the volume here, not very good. So for that reason alone, I would probably shy away from the 45-day options and stick with our 38-day options. Now, I'm going to give you a little bit of a precursor on what we're doing before I even show you the trade, because I want to show you this feature, which we're going to overhaul in January for you. I'm going down to the follow page in Tasty Trade, and if you want to see my trades or Tom's trades or anybody else that's listed here, and you will see some new traders coming for January 2023, all of your favorites from the tastylive platform or tastylive segments and shows that we do are going to be down here, like Chris and Ilya and everybody else who's on the show. Of course, your regulars that you have there now. But if you're looking for me, I'm Bob the Trader. You can click on Bob the Trader IRA. I do all of these trades in an IRA account. I'm going to show you a little trick on this Baidu trade in just a quick second. You can see my SPY trade is probably just a roll. That's what it says here. I'm rolling up the untested side, but you can see it in real time when I do it. Here's oil after what looked like about 6 or 8 different roll downs on oil. It certainly wasn't a cakewalk right here. We had 4 roll downs, but it finally paid off $160 in oil. But here is the Baidu trade. I try to put a little description on every one of them. You can see the time I made the trade, where the stock was, well, the stock is now, where the stock was when I made the trade, which is about 18 or or 19 cents lower than where it is right now. And I was doing a little bit of a delta long strangle and the price that I got filled, and here are the strikes. So you can certainly watch what I do here, and I want you to watch what we do here. But if you want to see this earlier, please open, move, transfer an account to Tasty Trade so you can have the follow page yourself and see all of these trades earlier. Now let me give you the reason why I'm making this trade, which you won't get on the follow page in its entirety, but can get here or when you watch it on our Tasty Live segment or on YouTube, as if you're doing that right now. We're down to this range around 110 or so, where Baidu has at least stopped and come back. To me, that's not as important as it's in the lower end of its range and has not participated with the market move higher. Now, Baidu only has a 0.47 correlation to the overall market, so it's a good, typically a good follower of the market, but it's a little bit more random than like you'd like that if you want something to follow the market, a correlation of 0.6 or above. 0.47, close, but not quite there. Decent IV rank for this market's IV rank of being very, very low, and the NASDAQ being under 1, 14.5 for Baidu. What am I going to do in January? Well, you already saw it. I am going to lean a little bit delta long. What do I mean by delta long? I'm going to sell a put that has a 40 delta. That's the 110 puts. And I'm going to sell the 120 calls, which have a 30 delta. That gives me 10 or 11 long deltas on this trade. You can see the mid prices right there at 605. I was able to get filled right at mid price or a penny below. So markets are quite tight and good with a lot of open interest and volume in Baidu. You really, in these times of low implied volatility, want to stick with products that have good implied volatility and also decent open interest. You'd like to see a lot of open interest because even if the markets get a little bit wider, you know there's a lot of eyes on the product and you'll get filled at mid-price. Now that's not mid-price that's on the screen, that's mid-price for where those options are trading. A lot of people are watching it. Nothing is going to trade here, skewed very far from fair value. You can see right now it looks like it's trading a little bit lower. You know I got filled at 605 with the stock trading right around here. You'll probably get filled very close to that too. This trade has a theta decay of $11, almost $12 a day for taking that risk, and it's got a tight pop of 57%. I typically like to have a probability of profit, that's what POP stands for, 60 or above, closer to 65, but I'm going a little bit directional here. When I'm delta neutral, I like to be above 60, 65, and when I'm going with a directional move, well, your probably profit is going to be a little bit lower, but your credit received hopefully will be a little bit higher. I certainly could go more of a delta neutral type trade by bringing these puts down a little bit, and then you'll see my probability of profit is closer to that range that I like. But I'm going to lean a little bit long in here, collect a little bit of a higher credit on the overall trade. $6.05 is where I got filled. In a margin account, you'll be using around $3,700. In an IRA account, well, you'd be using a lot more, closer to about $10,600 in a margin account. So what I like to do, in an IRA account. What I like to do in a margin account is demonstrate to you how you could make that IRA margin the same as in a margin account. Let me explain. If this was an IRA account right now, we'd be using $10,600. So you can go out and buy something like, well, I like to go where I find a decent market. Here's no bid at 17. Here's 1 cent, 10 cents. So I'd much rather buy or trade the 75 puts to make my risk a little bit less. So I'm going to buy the 75 puts, and I'm going to go up to the take the 120s and go up to the 150s. And you'll notice here that my buying power actually goes down to $2,900 and $2,921. That's lower than the margin if I just do the naked options in here. But of course, for that, the credit received is a little bit lower by obviously the price that I'm paying for these two options. But in an IRA account, instead of using $10,600, you'll be using $2,900 and change. A significant savings in an IRA account. not a significant savings in a margin account, in my opinion, and also a little bit of a drag on your theta decay. Not that much, but a small price to pay an IRA account. I'm going to make this trade, or I have already made this trade, at $6.05 in Baidu. All right, everybody, this is the point where I tell you, please do me a favor. Again, be the second time I'm asking you. Open, move, transfer, bring your account to Tasty Trade. It's how we keep the lights on here and keep Tasty Live free for you with your support at Tasty Trade. And then take advantage of some of those great perks that they have there. I think they give you some cold, hard cash if you move your account to Tasty Trade.